Okay, we're back, and we're going to talk on this section about education, mainly certifications, associations, and awards. So let's jump right in. Danielle, you've got some education recently and some graduation dates coming up. Let's see how that's portrayed.
Okay, so here is my original resume.
I see resumes like this a lot, where the education, especially from someone who's recently graduated, whether it's an undergraduate or a uh, uh, a graduate degree, they want to showcase that education. And if that's your goal, this is where that education would go. But whereas you've got experience that really is going to help you get you to a next job, um, I would suggest moving the education piece down, unless you're in academia, unless there's something that's really relevant that you want to do to put there. So in most cases, I would put education down lower. The other thing that we've got here is there's not a lot of information about what you got out of your education. So I know that you've worked on this a little bit. This is the most basic education piece, and without the content that really tells about what you're learning, I would definitely suggest moving this to the bottom. So I know you have an updated resume. Let's see what that looks like with the work that you've done, and maybe you can walk us through how you changed it.
Okay, so here, this is the updated resume, what it's looking like so far. And then you can see I've got my education down here at this bottom section.
Mhm.
And zoom in so we can look at that.
So can I just say this looks like 100% better, just from an attractiveness and a readability standpoint. There's some meat there that I want to connect into. Okay, carry on.
Thank you. Okay, so what I did was I kind of kept that same format with the education title that I'll be graduating with a Bachelor in Marriage and Family Studies, and that's anticipated in December of this year. And so what I've added underneath there is I'll have a few additional certificates I'll be graduating with. So I've included those, and then based on some past sessions that you and I have had, I've included some other things that I've done as a part of my education, which included teaching a course. And then there's a credential that I plan to apply for post-graduation. So I've included that intention there.
Okay, great. So can I comment on a couple of things that I see here?
Yes, please.
So I love that you followed the same pattern using the business value equation. I love that I see some metrics like 9-week. If there's another place you can add another metric, I would recommend that. Uh, I love that it's anticipated December 2023. That is perfectly fine. Let's see, what else? I would probably put the location up on that first line with education, sometimes at like BS Marriage and Family Studies with the BYU Idaho next to that. It looks a little awkward down at the bottom. Lastly, this is just something to think about, is maybe making this 2 bullets instead of 3, or reversing the, actually, I think I like the reversing the additional certificates and moving that to the very bottom. Let's actually look at that and see how that looks. Okay, this looks really good. I love what you've done here. Your location is now on the same line as your degree, and you've moved additional certificates into a more readable place. Additional certificates, additional anything would be something that you would expect to see at the end, and it also draws more focus to the 2 bullet points that you're emphasizing from in your coursework. So this looks really good. I think that it really mirrors the experience that you're pulling down. Your education is augmented by putting it in the same format as you did your experience. What do you think about it? Do you like it?
Yeah, I think it looks a lot better than it originally looked on the first
Oh,
resume.
by far.
I do have
Okay.
one question for you,
Yeah.
Steve.
Uh-huh.
When would it be appropriate or is it appropriate to add? So I've got my bachelor degree listed here. Would it ever be appropriate to list my associate's degree?
It might be, and this would be a great place to mention if you're doing a CV, especially if you're going into academia, say you wanted to take an education track, an educational or an academic CV, you would absolutely list not only your previous degrees, but your current degrees and all the classes, courses, conferences, books, titles that you have ever done as more of a almost like a bibliography. But in a resume, no, I think your most recent degree is adequate. I also don't know that it's important to put your GPA on there unless it's super high marks, 3.9 or above. Otherwise, that's just a distraction. And if you've got high honors or something like that, that's probably worthwhile. And you could even omit the GPA. Sometimes I read those of people that are coming right out of college, and it kind of makes me wonder, are they relying too much on their education? And is that actually going to translate into a high performing worker? It doesn't always. And so unless it's super high, I would leave it off, and I would put the education down low. Did that answer your question? I think I gave you more than you expected there.
Yeah, it did answer my question. Thank you. This is helping a lot because I'm feeling like a much stronger candidate as I get ready to start applying for things.
Awesome. And you look it too. I mean, your resume communicates that, and that's the goal.